The drone found the problem nobody saw. Brian stepped out of his truck just after sunrise with a coffee in one hand and a job site schedule in the other. That is usually a dangerous combination. The coffee says, "We're going to make it through the day." The schedule says, "That's adorable." The site was already waking up. Engines were turning over. Backup alarms were starting their morning concert. A skid steer rolled past with the confidence of a machine that has never once cared about anyone's spreadsheet. A crew near the far side of the project was unloading material. Somewhere behind the office trailer, somebody was already asking where the extension cord went. So, a normal morning. Brian had been a superintendent long enough to know that job sites rarely fall apart all at once. They usually drift. A little delay here, a missing delivery there, a crew waiting on another crew, a muddy access road that was supposed to be fine, a stockpile sitting exactly where tomorrow's work is supposed to happen. Nothing dramatic, just enough little things stacking up until someone finally says, "How are we already behind?" And that morning, from the ground, everything looked mostly fine. Not perfect. Never perfect. If a job site looks perfect, either it is staged for a brochure or everyone should start asking questions. But Brian walked the site like he always did. He checked the access road. He looked at the staging area. He talked to the grading crew. He checked where the material had been dropped. He looked at the area where tomorrow's work was supposed to start. Nothing screamed at him. No giant disaster. No dramatic failure. No piece of equipment sitting upside down in a retention pond, which is always a plus. But something felt tight. The schedule looked tight. The site felt tight. The crews were moving, but not smoothly. There was that little pressure in the air that experienced supers recognize before anyone says it out loud. The kind of pressure that whispers, "Something is about to cost money." Then the drone went up. And everything changed. Not because the drone was magic. Not because it was smarter than Brian. Not because it had a tiny construction degree and a bad attitude. But because the drone could see something Brian could not see from the ground. The whole site, all at once. From above, the project stopped looking like a collection of separate problems and started looking like a map. And on that map, one thing stood out. A material laydown area that looked fine from the ground was actually blocking the cleanest path for equipment. A section near the far side of the site was holding water where it should not have been. The access route everyone planned to use the next morning was already getting pinched by deliveries, parked equipment, and a small pile of "we'll move it later," which, as every job site knows, is one of the most dangerous phrases in construction. From the ground, it looked like a normal busy site. From the air, it looked like tomorrow's delay had already parked itself in the middle of the project and was waiting for someone to notice. The drone found the problem nobody saw, and that is where this story gets interesting. Because this video is not really about a drone replacing Brian, it is about Brian getting a better view. And that difference is enormous. A lot of people hear about AI, drones, robotics, job site cameras, and smart construction tools, and they immediately think the same thing. Great, here comes another machine that is supposed to make people unnecessary, but that is not the best version of this technology. The best version is not replacing the superintendent, it is helping the superintendent see what the ground level walk missed. Because Brian did not miss the problem because he was careless. He missed it because he's human, and humans have a few limitations. We are usually standing in one place at a time. We can only see from one angle at a time. We remember a lot, but not everything. We get interrupted. We get pulled into phone calls. We get asked the same question 9 times by 3 different people. And by 2:30 in the afternoon, even the best superintendent on earth can look at a pile of material and think, was that always there? The drone does not get tired. It does not have to walk around the mud. It does not care if the access road is annoying. It does not forget what the site looked like last Tuesday. It goes up, captures the view, and gives people like Brian a way to compare what is happening now with what was supposed to happen. That is the real power, not the flying, the comparison. Because a drone by itself is just a camera in the sky? Useful? Yes. Cool? Absolutely. A little annoying if it buzzes too close to your head while you're trying to have a conversation? Also yes. But when you combine drone footage with mapping software, progress tracking, site plans, and AI tools that can help recognize patterns, changes, quantities, and conflicts, then it becomes something more useful. It becomes a job site memory, it becomes an overhead record, it becomes a way to catch small issues before they turn into expensive surprises. And expensive surprises are construction's least favorite kind of surprise. There are many ways drones can help on a job site. They can capture progress photos from the same angle every week. They can document work before it gets covered. They can help measure stockpiles. They can help inspect roofs, slopes, drainage areas, access roads, and large sites that would take a long time to walk. They can help compare the actual site to the plan. They can help spot safety concerns, congestion, standing water, material conflicts, and changes that are easy to miss from the ground. And with AI, some systems can go even further. They may help flag visual differences between two dates. They may identify areas where progress is slower than expected. They may help measure quantities. They may help organize thousands of images so a human does not have to scroll through them like they are looking for one vacation photo from 2018. That matters because job sites create a ridiculous amount of information. Photos, plans, RFIs, schedules, deliveries, daily reports, change orders, weather delays, subcontractor updates, safety notes, progress meetings, and somewhere inside all of that noise is the thing that might matter tomorrow. The drone helps create a clearer picture. AI can help sort through that picture. But Brian still has to understand what it means. That is the part people forget. A drone can show water collecting in the wrong area. But Brian has to know why that matters. Is it a drainage issue? Is it a grading issue? Is it because the site got hammered by rain the night before? Is it temporary? Is it going to block access? Will it delay the next crew? Does it need a pump, a fix, a conversation, or a completely different plan? The drone can show the problem. It does not automatically solve the problem. And that's why experienced people are still central to the future of construction. AI can help notice. Humans still need to understand. AI can help compare. Humans still need to decide. AI can help flag a risk. Humans still need to act before the risk turns into a very expensive meeting. And nobody enjoys an expensive meeting, especially the kind where someone says, "So how did we not see this coming?" That is the question every superintendent wants to avoid, and tools like drones can help answer it earlier. Imagine Brian reviewing the drone map at the end of the day. He sees the access route getting tighter. He sees materials staged too close to tomorrow's work area. He sees one section drying slower than the rest of the site. He sees that the crew did make progress, but not in the sequence the schedule assumed. That doesn't mean anyone failed. It means reality showed up, and reality is very good at ignoring the schedule. The schedule might say one thing, the site might say another. And the drone gives Brian a better chance to see the difference before it becomes a bigger problem. That's a huge advantage, because construction is full of moments where the issue was not completely hidden. It was just not visible from the angle people were looking from. From the ground, a site can feel busy. From the air, it can reveal a bottleneck. From the ground, a laydown area can look organized. From the air, it can show that tomorrow's crane path is blocked. From the ground, a drainage issue can look like one puddle. From the air, it can show a pattern. From the ground, progress can feel like progress. From the air, it can show whether the right work is happening in the right place at the right time. That's the difference between movement and progress. A job site can have plenty of movement and still not be moving in the right direction. Anyone who has watched 3 people relocate the same stack of material twice knows exactly what that means. The drone doesn't just show activity, it can help show whether the activity matches the plan. And that is where AI gets interesting. AI doesn't have to be dramatic to be useful. It doesn't need to announce, "I have analyzed the project and discovered inefficiency." Nobody wants that, especially not before coffee, but it can help compare images over time. It can help identify repeated patterns. It can help organize footage. It can help point out where something has changed. It can help take a massive pile of visual information and make it easier for humans to use. That's not replacing Brian, that's giving Brian another tool in the trailer. And the people who learn these tools early may have a real advantage, not because they become drone pilots overnight, not because everyone needs to suddenly become a software engineer, but because construction rewards people who can see problems earlier, communicate clearly, document better, and make good decisions faster. A superintendent who knows how to use drone data can walk into a meeting with more than an opinion. He can say, "Here's what the site looked like last week. Here is what changed. Here is where we are blocked. Here is what we need to move before tomorrow." That is powerful. A contractor who can use drone maps and AI-assisted progress tracking may be able to reduce rework, protect margins, improve communication, and catch issues sooner. A small business owner who learns drone inspection, site mapping, or construction progress documentation may find a real service opportunity. A young worker who learns how these tools fit into the job site may make themselves more valuable, not less. That's the hopeful part of this story. The future doesn't only belong to the machine, it belongs to the people who understand what the machine can do, what it cannot do, and how to use it without turning their brain off. Because that last part is important. Drones and AI can create confidence. Sometimes too much confidence. A beautiful drone map can still be wrong. A clean AI report can still miss context. A flagged issue may matter a lot, or it may not matter at all. And a drone cannot replace walking the site, talking to crews, understanding sequencing, checking conditions, and using judgment. A drone can show Brian the whole site, but it cannot replace Brian knowing the site. That is the balance. Use the tool. Don't worship the tool. Let it help. Don't let it think for you. That is probably the smartest way to look at most AI in construction. Not as a miracle, not as a threat, as leverage, a better view, a better record, a better way to ask, what changed? And sometimes that question is the most valuable question on the job. What has changed since yesterday? What has changed since last week? What has changed since the last update? What changed that nobody noticed yet? That is how small problems get caught, and small problems are much cheaper than big ones. A blocked access road is cheaper than a delayed pour. A drainage issue is cheaper before it damages work. A material conflict is cheaper before 3 crews are standing around waiting. A safety issue is better handled before somebody gets hurt. A progress gap is easier to fix before it turns into a schedule slide that ruins everyone's Friday. Construction doesn't need more surprises, it needs better warning signs. And that's what makes drone technology so interesting. It's not just the flying camera, it's the perspective, it's the record, it's the ability to step outside ground-level chaos and see the project as a whole. Brian may walk the site and see 10 important things. The drone may go up and show him the 11th. And that 11th thing might be the one that saves tomorrow. So no, the drone is not the superintendent, it is not the project manager, it is not the safety officer, it is not the inspector, it is not the person who has to call the subcontractor and explain why their material needs to move before lunch. That is still Brian's problem. Sorry, Brian, but the drone can help him see the problem earlier, and earlier is where the money is saved, earlier is where the argument is smaller, earlier is where the fix is easier. Earlier is where the crew can adjust before the delay becomes official. That is building smarter, not using technology because it looks cool. Using technology because it gives people a better chance to make the right call at the right time. And that's the message that matters. AI and drones are not here to make good construction people useless. They're here to make good construction people harder to beat. The worker who learns the tool has an advantage. The superintendent who understands the data has an advantage. The contractor who documents the site better has an advantage. The crew that sees the problem sooner has an advantage. The small business that can provide useful drone mapping, inspection support, progress documentation, or site intelligence may have an opportunity. That's not fear. That's a door opening. And yes, like every door in construction, someone probably stacked material in front of it. But still, it is an opportunity. By mid-morning, Brian is back in the trailer with the drone footage pulled up. The overhead image tells the story in one glance. The access route needs to be cleared. The material staging needs to shift. The wet area needs attention. Tomorrow's plan needs a small adjustment today so it does not become a big problem later. Nobody panics. Nobody declares the drone the new boss. Nobody has to bow to the flying camera. Brian just looks at the map, points to the problem, and makes the call. That's the real future. Not a job site where humans disappear. A job site where humans can see more. The drone found the problem nobody saw. But Brian still had to understand it. Brian still had to act on it. Brian still had to lead. And that is the part worth remembering. The future of construction is not just smarter machines. It is smarter decisions. Better tools in the hands of people who know what they're doing. A better view before the mistake gets expensive. A better warning before the schedule slips. A better chance to fix the small thing while it is still small. That is not hype, that is not magic, that is building smarter. And honestly, if a flying camera can help save a job site from one more "how did nobody notice this" meeting, then maybe it deserves a little respect. Not too much. We do not want it getting a personality. Well, maybe a little.